Hi everyone, welcome to this LinkedIn Live. I'm excited to be here and show you around some of the new things we've been working on. So obviously with me, we are going to talk about immersive learning and training, but we're also going to talk a little bit about AI and things that we've been up to on that front. Full disclosure, this whole presentation was vibe coded. And somehow vibe coded has become some kind of a bad word, so I'm going to use creative coding. I've actually built a tool to help me do this presentation, and it's fun. I've added some very quirky and useless features, such as being able to make the sun rise if I want. Very useful. I can also launch a rocket. Woo! There you go. Anyway, this is me having fun in my free time. Let's get into it, and then more around those AI experiments and, what it means for the future of our students at the end of the presentation. I'm going to start with some industry news. So what has everyone been up to in the industry, and then take a look at some data points. I'm going to highlight a few content creators that, we always like to show the great things they've been working on. I'm going to demo a new creator tool feature that we have. And then at the end, we are going to talk about a little bit about AI experiments. So, what does 2026 look like? Well, it's not like I can predict everything that's going to happen, but this is what I've been hearing, and this is what I've been reading about. I was at an EdTech conference just a few days ago in the Bay Area, so it was interesting to see, what everyone's thinking and where their heads are at. So first, concerning our immersive community, what's up with Meta for education? As you all know, we have been very close with Meta for the past 5 years. They are a big partner of ours. They still are, but there have been some significant shift internally, especially with the education team. So a big number of the education team has moved over to what they call wearables. So these are the smart glasses team. And what they've also done I think it's tomorrow or in 2 days, starting February 20th, the management system that was sold to schools is going to be free now. So you're going to be able to manage your devices for free. So that's the upside. The downside is that there isn't going to be much support from the education team moving forward on that front. But you have very good companies that it's their job basically to do this management stuff. So people like ArborXR or ManageXR, they are the ones you want to be relying on now regarding device management. But I think overall it's going to make things a little easier and a little smoother. Because Meta has never been very good at making things easy for teachers or schools. So even though they tried, they were really a great team. So moving on from that, during that EdTech Summit I was at yesterday, we talked a bit about what's happening in the US, specifically at the federal level in 2026. So nothing really amazing. There are budget cuts across the board, especially for K-12 schools. So that's going to make their ability to basically purchase EdTech solutions a little harder. So here I'm talking to my fellow EdTech founders or those who are selling solutions in schools and things like that, especially in the US. It's going to be a bit harder. And also there's a big push for removing screens in schools, which is kind of interesting because at the same time they're pushing AI in schools. So AI in schools without screens is going to be a bit complicated. So there's a bit of a conundrum there. But just so you know, that's what things look like. And I'll touch on the next slide as what you should be focusing on. Industry data roulette. So I thought that would be fun to try. So that's my other AI experiment thing. If I hit the F key on my keyboard, I get live data about our industry. And let's see, something random comes up. And of course, you can't see me anymore because it's hiding me high. All right, so let's see. What do we have? 72% of K-12 educators are using Gen AI, save 10 hours per week on lesson planning. Well, that's interesting. And is it true? We'll see. There's the link to, there's always the link to the live data feed. So if you want to see if the source is valid, you can. I've been really interested in understanding if teachers are really using those automated lesson plan tools, because there are thousands of them. There are so many of them now. You can automate lesson plans for about anything. And so, yeah, I'm curious from everyone, watching or rewatching this later, are you using those tools? Okay, let's try another little flashcard roulette to see what happens. Live data. All right, 15 billion projected spending on AR, VR, and education worldwide. So 70% of higher education have immersive labs. Okay, interesting. All right, well, these data feeds are always very positive, obviously, and probably to some level biased. Yeah, I'd love to know who, all of you folks who are in higher ed, do you see everyone having an immersive lab? Are you all building one? Are you seeing traction there? Are you seeing other universities do it? Are you actually using it on a day-to-day? So, these are the questions I'm interested in. So yeah, I'm gonna leave this industry data feed away for now and move on to the next thing that I want to talk to you about. But yeah, maybe I'll put this up on our website somewhere so you can have fun and check out some industry data. All right. So based on what we talked about and some of the data that we saw, this is just a slide to touch on what EdTech solutions should be focusing on. And by EdTech solutions, I mean EdTech solution working with AI, working with XR, working with emerging tech. And that can include, large companies, small companies, but it can include also, a group of teachers that are training folks in schools and things like that. So a couple of things right now. Cool factor alone will not cut it anymore. We think we're past that in VR, especially with VR. So cool is nice, but it's not going to be enough. Always co-design with a subject matter expert. That sounds very obvious, and all the points that I make right now are just obvious, but they're always good reminders in case you're either building something new or designing something new. So yeah, make sure that what you're building actually works for who you're targeting. And if you're a teacher or an educator and you're hesitant to stop building your own content or sell it, please do. And I don't know, build a business or build your own business. Like, we need more educators that actually build companies. So please do it. And if you do, let me know. I will help you. Making things easy for those who are managing your solutions. They touched on that at the EdTech Summit as well. For VR, it's obvious. Like, it's already so complicated to have headsets. You have to charge them. The delivery of the content needs to be very smooth. And now that you can kind of manage more easily how the content is being delivered, just make sure it's very easy. A couple of clicks. It can't be too complicated. And it's also a critique of Zoe and what we've built. Like, we haven't built the easiest platform in the world either, but we're trying to get there. I also think everything now should be available also on flat screens in addition to VR. The Zoe app on our site unfortunately isn't yet, but I wish it was. Bridge and our Bridge tool you'll see is available for web as well. We just need to make things a little easier and more easily manageable, right? Because if schools are spending or universities are spending all this money on the hardware, then it needs to be used, and for it to be used, it needs to be easy. Another thing to maybe filter out some of the experiments that you're doing. If you can't tie it to a learning objective, maybe skip it. It's nice to do fun things, but fun things don't, if they don't teach a student something, you don't learn something out of it, it probably should just be a fun game or a fun demo, but it's not going to work for a classroom or a lecture hall, all these things. And then the last one, also pretty straightforward for anyone building edtech, but you need to have the security processes and privacy policies in place. And I wanted to stress that because this year especially, superintendents cannot sign off on edtech solutions if you don't have that properly done. So yeah, just make sure that you do. Check also in the different states that you're working with and things like that. So these are my kind of 2 cents on edtech. Now we are going to move on to see what works and what hasn't worked with immersive simulations about this year. So we've worked with hundreds of educators and students and other edtech companies. We've seen the content that they created. We've seen them test and try and error. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. With our own stuff as well, we've been able to see what works and what doesn't. So again, these things might be obvious or not. Just take them in, if they can be helpful. This is great. So for sure, short and focused sessions in VR are much better than playing a 30 or 45-minute session. And I say this because with VR, especially if you're doing it in the headset and not on the web, people can't stay too long in there either. So, and don't assume that, I don't know, if you have students that are in computer science, or if you have students that are supposedly in the techie field, don't assume they'll know and they'll get it right away. They won't. You need to handhold. And focus sessions are the best. So if you're designing experiences now that you think, oh, this would be great for classrooms, or this would be great for my students learning about engineering or in healthcare, just make sure that you're designing something simple that does not need too much explanation. Also make sure that there's room within your experience for faculty or teacher-led framing before and after the experience, so that it really ties into a class and a topic. Like, just don't throw someone into a VR simulation with no context and then without any idea what you're going to talk about afterwards. That wouldn't work. Passive watching doesn't produce muscle memory and doesn't produce excitement. I've seen so many classes where you see 30 students sitting on a chair watching a YouTube video. What's the point? In a headset, all this hurdle, you put the headset on, you're sweating and you're just watching a video. I think there's a place for 360 videos in some cases, but really when you're doing VR, room scale VR with controllers and everything, you definitely need to have some interactivity in there just to make it worth your time, right? And the students' time as well. Agency within experience will dramatically enhance retention as well. Picking up objects, being able to actually do something. And not all experiences should be in VR at all. Some probably should never be in VR. But yeah, student agency will definitely increase your retention, and then students will come back, okay? But again, agency, interactivity, but also simplicity. Students creating content provides higher retention in K through 12. So we have a lot of students and teachers doing project-based learning especially with our Zoe app. I wish there were more though, because we do have a whole set of teachers who are, they won't take the leap of doing PBL, and I get it because classes are so short and they don't have time to necessarily start having the students create anything. But it's so worth it because the kids, they will just do it. They will go through it. They will do it. So I highly recommend. We're gonna try and make PBL easier and easier in our app. But really, if you can make the students create with VR, just do it. It's just so much more fun for them, and for you too, maybe, because you just get to watch them build and collaborate and create and all of that. And we have tons of lessons that support this. All right. Now I'm gonna move on to showing you some experiences that I think are cool, and they match some of those criteria here, and they were built by the community. So let me just show you around some of the stuff, and then we'll go into a demo. I'll show you some of the new tools we've built. Okay, so we are going to start with Chris Booker. So he's at the University of Nottingham. They have this huge VR lab there, and I'm just going to pop up his video very quick. And he built a very simple engineering simulation. It's a very simple scene, and it just teaches you basics of mechanical engineering and where it can be found. So you move around this experience, you can touch on questions, you get an answer, there's animated objects, and then there's different stations where you can learn something different about those objects. It's a good introduction, and yeah, I thought that was a really cool example that I like. Let's go to the next one. This one was made by Mara at the Dubai Health, and so she wanted to teach a very targeted topic. So again, I think that's very smart to do targeted topics. Medical waste safety training. So when you administer an injection or a vaccine or anything like that, then afterwards, as a nurse, you have to dispose of the material properly. And so she had this very simple idea of teaching how to do this properly. And again, that's muscle memory. It's very nice. It's a short experience, short enough, and you can easily, slot it into a class where you're talking about the safety measures. So this is a very good example, I think, for me in the healthcare department. And again, short, simple, very interactive, very practical little demonstration. Next up, we're gonna forgot to put the logo here. So this was supposed to be the logo of the University of Porto. So Elmir was a PhD student, part of one of our creator programs, and he was doing high pressure team building in VR. So it is a multiplayer experience where you have a certain amount of time to collaborate, discuss, have conversation, and solve puzzles in a space station. I like this experience because it uses our multiplayer capabilities, and a lot of people don't use them as much. So, that one's really cool. And you can always watch his interview and get more details about exactly what his PhD was about and kind of the findings about using VR for that. And then the last example I'm going to show today, and I'm trying to keep this presentation down to 30 minutes, so I'm going to hurry up a bit. From Esteban, so he worked on preserving Tibetan calligraphy, and I thought that was a very smart and interesting project. So this is just the prototype that he built, and then they have a version that you can try now that's fully functional using the Logitech MX Ink. And this teaches you about Tibetan calligraphy, and it's something that it's a technique that's dying, and so being able to keep it in VR and in an environment where you can interact is a really cool application of VR with a good purpose. So these are the examples that I wanted to show you today. There's many more that you can browse through. So now, what is up with the Zoe team, what we've been up to? So I'm going to demo a few things. Just a quick reminder for those who are new to the community. We have like a family of apps and things that we do. So the first is the Zoe app, which is used in K-12 classrooms a lot and in colleges, and it's where you can create a VR experience directly in VR. So this is an app that only sits in VR, and you're building and collaborating within a headset. And then we have Zoe Bridge, which is what I'm going to show you today, because we haven't shown that much yet. It's something that we've been working on over the past year. It's a dashboard where you can manage Unity experiences and publish them. It's basically a content management system for VR and for web experiences as well. I'll show that to you in a minute. And then we have Zoe Studio, and Zoe Studio is basically our content arm in Geneva. And we build content for schools. We build VR lessons for colleges. We also build for enterprise clients. And what we always do is we provide the source file, either working with our Zoe app or working with the Zoe Bridge, which is nice because you get to get a piece of content and several pieces of content, and then you can edit them and modify them as you want. So we basically build content for those who just don't have time to do it themselves. All right, so let's move to Bridge. So quick overview of the platform, and then I'll show it to you. So Bridge is linked to Zoe for Unity. It's our Unity plugin where you can create content easily in Unity for VR and for the web. You can create simulations. You can add your own code, but we also can use it without any code. And it allows you to manage the content. Basically, once you build the content, you can publish it and you can assign it to your learners, and then you can track progress and get data analytics and all this stuff. So yeah, that's what it does in a nutshell, and I will show it to you right now. So I'm going to share the entire screen, and here we go. So essentially, this is the web dashboard. I'm just going to sign out so you can see what it looks like when you're signed out. So here you have the logo. Here it's the Zoe logo, but this is actually branded for each client. So if you're a university, this would be your logo, and then your colors. Or you can hook it up to your SSO if you have an SSO, and you can also invite guests with code into the platform. So we're just going to quickly log in with my email and take a look. Okay, so this is Bridge. Here you have a library of experiences. These are if you're working internally at a college, or if you're working with your company or with clients. This is the library of all the content that you create directly in the Unity game engine. And what this Bridge platform allows you to do is it allows faculty or training staff to create modules. and to create modules so that learners can go through specific experiences that they want. So we're just going to try and do this, create a module. We're going to call it my anatomy class. You can put a description. I'm just going to put the same thing for now. And then you can add an experience. So here you get access to all the experiences in your library and you can add them. So we're going to add anatomy and fun with organs and maybe the basic scene. And then we're going to hit confirm. And now all those experiences are in the module. So all your students, when you share this with them, they are going to have to go through all of these. They can either run in VR, run on the web, or both. It depends on you and how you built them. If you built them for the web, they're going to be able to just play them from the web browser. So now we're going to publish this module, and it's going to give you this code. And this code, well, you can share it with students and learners. So as soon as you share it with someone, they're going to be able to log into your own Bridge platform, and they're going to be able to play whatever is in the module. And for you, you can go in there, you can, for example, close a module because the class is over and you don't need it anymore. And then you can also go in and see the data analytics. So in the participants tab, you can see all the participants that you've invited, either with a code or with SSO. And in the analytics session, you can see data per experience, per participant, and you're going to be able to see a whole bunch of things. You're going to be able to see how long it took them to complete, but you can also track every single thing and every single step in an experience. So if you want to track if they were able to do a step or another, you will see and you will have all that data, and that will allow you to make better assessment. And so that's what Bridge is. That's simple as that. And if I go into Unity just to show you, so this is one of our little demo scene. If I hit play, it's the simplest one that we have. It works for the web. So when you learn how to use Zoe for Unity, it's the first experience you're supposed to build yourself. And you can point at objects, click them to grab them, and then things move on as you complete the steps. And so this little experience, once you're satisfied with it and you're done with it, you can go into Bridge here, and then you'll be able to see, if you're logged in, you see here all the experiences that I was seeing in the web dashboard. So you have all your experiences. You can add a new experience, and you can add the current experience that you're working on directly, and it'll automatically go into the servers, and then your faculty and your students can go in and play them. So yeah, it's basically a shortcut for publishing and managing content and getting data. So that's what we've been up to. It's been very cool to build this out with. So if you have questions about Bridge, feel free to let me know. Now, what else? I am at 5-minute time. It's probably going to take me a little longer to do the rest, but I will try and keep it under 10. So I wanted to touch on some of the AI experiments that we've been doing. Everyone's been working on AI. AI is moving super fast. I am extremely interested in creative coding and also the ability for teachers and students and faculty and maybe smaller edtech startups to start building very interesting tools and very interesting software that students can use in class. And I think that's going to be just the most interesting thing in the world. And so on our side, we are designers. We love to do research, and we love to test new things. So we've built a few things that you all can test. And we also want to invite you all to a creator program or a hackathon where we're all going to be using creative coding to build new solutions and then share them with one another. So we'll teach you how to do this, how the tools work, how you can take advantage of it. And you'll see it is going to be so easy. The hot part is not the technical part now. It's really about ideas. And I think for students, coming into the workforce and for young generation, but also for our generation to upskill ourselves, the most important skill you're going to have is design, thinking, architecture, clarity. You're going to have to know what you want, and you're going to have to know how to build it. That's going to be the most important thing, because AI agents are going to be doing all the technical stuff for you, or most of it. So, you're going to stand out if you know how to orchestrate things, if you know how to do project management, if you know how to communicate and collaborate, and all these things are going to become so much more important. So this whole experiment is part of that idea. So I'm just going to share my screen again. I will do this screen. It has Unity for now, but I'm going to show you the rest. So first off, talking about ideas and design. Some of you may know that we used to have a creator program that we run where we were teaching everyone about building their first immersive experience and stuff like that. And we've put all that knowledge in this free application that you can use. It's a website. We've built it with a super cool platform. I'm going to plug them in now called Lovable that you may know about. So basically this has all the knowledge, and it's just to help you figure out what you want to create when you're building an immersive learning experience. But it just helps you with the design process. So you can use it for your own work, but we're going to do also a version for students so that it can also be a really cool activity in class. For those who are doing PBL, you can use this with your students and have them think through what kind of experience they want to build, how they want to build it, why, etc. So if we just go through some of those slides here, you see you can pick a topic. So let's pick music. It's going to ask you a few questions about how comfortable you are with VR. It's going to ask you what's your target group for this. So you can pick a target group, and then it's going to give you some suggestions of ideas, some better than others, I will say. And then you can also put your own idea here if you already have something. You know what you want, and then you have no idea what you want to do, which is oftentimes the problem. Getting your ideas together, you can click Help Me Decide, and that will give you some inputs on what to do. Then it's going to generate some kind of big idea. So what we call the big idea is just the overall concept of what you want to convey. So it's going to generate something. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not as great, but in any case, it's good for inspiration, and you can edit. And once you're done with it, you can continue the process. And it's going to ask you a whole bunch of questions. What should students learn? And then it's going to ask you it's going to tell you what assets you would need in your scene, what kind of audio do you want, what kind of interactions and stuff like that. So it's a really nice tool. And at the end, you get this whole roadmap on how to build your experience. So another fun experiment I wanted to show you is, so as you know, we are heavily focused on creation and enabling creativity. And we've been wanting to prototype a few solutions that would also cater to younger kids, so not VR. And we've came up with some ideas, and I'm going to share one of them with you, but this also serves as an example of the type of things that if you come to our Educator Hackathon, these are the kinds of solutions that you can start building or thinking about. Everything that I'm showing you today, the AI front, is going to be available on our let me just show it to you on our AI Creator Lab website very soon. So all the experience that we're doing, we're going to put them in there. You're going to be able to test them for free and try them out. We want classrooms to try our solutions and the things that we're experimenting with. But the most important part is we want you to join so that we can create interesting things together, either, and help you figure out how you'd use them. So it can be anything. We're interested in training scenarios. We're interested in healthcare. We're interested in anything higher ed. We're interested in teachers joining this as well. So, for now, we just have the website. You can click I'm interested if you want to get, put your email in, and then we'll give you more details as we're putting this together, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So now back to this. So I have a 4-year-old, and we wanted to build something that's kind of fun for her to do. We saw some of the things that they do in class on tablets. It's not that fun. And we wanted something that is easy and can be done in like 10, 15 minutes so she doesn't stay on the screen for too long. And so, yeah, that's kind of how this thing came about. I thought it would be fun to share it with you. I am going to go in there as a teacher, and then I'll have someone join as a student. So the first thing you can do, we can go in there and you can choose between multiplayer mode or single mode. In multi-mode, you basically all the students collaborate together. So imagine a class where all the kids have an iPad each, or they can all join the same whiteboard canvas together with the teacher handling things. And then single mode is everyone has their own canvas and the teacher can see what all the students are doing and can assign little activities and things. So let's do multi-mode and start this session. So here you can see there's a student here, Swiftbird, and this is me. We can Again, we can just draw on the canvas. It's super simple, but we want it to be simple because it's really for young kids, right? So there's low cognitive load. There's only a few colors, and then there's a delete button where you can delete everything as a teacher. And you can draw. That's basically it. Here on the right side, I have some tools. And for now, there's a few activities there. And there's one, for example, that my daughter loves to do, and she always does that one, called Link the Dots. So now you can assign this activity to your whole class. So we're going to be adding 100 different little activities. They're all very creative activities and simple activities that you can do with the kids. It works on tablets, so you can, draw with your hands. We might add some like 3D simulation activities at some point, but for now we're kind of focusing on simple things. We don't know where this is going yet. We wanted to make something extremely simple that you can pop up in a classroom in less than 1 minute. So again, this is free and you're welcome to try it out, especially those who are doing things with younger kids. All right, I'm going to move on to the next thing, which is wrapping up basically. Thank you for listening if you've been here so far. It's been fun to do this kind of improv style, but hopefully I'll have time to do another one of those. So there's links down here. The zoeimmersive.com/AI lab is where we're going to put all the AI experiments that we do with the team, and also where you can sign up if you want to participate into one of the AI creator program we're going to do, and it's going to be free, so you're welcome to join freely. There's zoeimmersive.com/bridge for those who are interested in bridge this way. And then down there's the service page. And yeah, that's basically it. I'm going to leave you with this statement. Welcome to the era of the builders. I just so strongly believe in this and how it's going to be so important in our future with AI, with XR, with all these things. Creativity is going to be one of the most important things. It seems like AI will take over that part, but it won't and it can't. So I'm actually more excited than stressed out about this stuff, and I hope I can convey that to all of you. Have a nice rest of your day, and yeah, don't hesitate to ping me if you have questions about any of this. See you soon. Thank you.